Let's talk about how to simplify composite radicals. So in this problem, we have a radical within a radical. How can we simplify it? Well, there's a formula that's going to help. If you have the nth root of the m root of x, it's simply m times n root x. So if you have a radical within a radical, you can multiply the two indices together. So the cube root of the fourth root of x is equal to the 12th root of x. The fourth root of the fifth root of x is equal to the 20th root of x. And we could illustrate that. So the fourth root is basically the fifth root of x raised to the 1/4. And the fifth root of x is basically x to the 1/5, and then this is raised to the 1/4. Whenever you have one exponent raised to another, you can multiply the two exponents. So 1/5 times 1/4 is 1/20. And this becomes the 20 root of x. So in other words, you could simply multiply these two indices together. Now let's talk about multiplying radicals with two different index numbers. So let's say if we have the fourth root of x and we want to multiply it by the fifth root of x. How can we do that quickly? Well, here's the formula. The m root of x to the a times the n root of x to the b is equal to m times n root x to the an plus bm. So let me show you how you can use that formula here. So first we're going to multiply the two index numbers. 4 times 5 is 20. Next we'll multiply 1 and 5, which will give us 5. And then we'll multiply 1 and 4, which will give us 4. And so it becomes 9. So our final answer is the 20th root of x to the 9th. So using that formula, go ahead and try these two examples. Let's multiply the 7th root of x to the 3rd power with the 5th root of x to the 4th power. And you could also try this one. The 8th root of x to the 5th power multiplied by the 7th root of x to the 9th power. So for the first one, let's begin by multiplying the two index numbers. 7 times 5 is 35. Next, let's cross multiply. 3 times 5 is 15. And 4 times 7 is 28. Now, 15 plus 28 is 43. So that's the answer. Now, of course, you could simplify that even further if we want to. I'm going to break up 43 into 35 and 8. 35 plus 8 is 43. Now, these two, they go into each other. So this can come out as an x. So we have x times the 35th root of x to the 8. So you could leave your answer like that if you want to. If the exponent is greater than the index number, you could simplify it. In this case, it's not. So this is as far as we could simplify it. Let's try the other example. So let's multiply the index numbers. 8 and 7 is 56. And then let's cross multiply. 5 times 7 is 35. And 8 times 9 is 72. '35 plus 72 is 107. Now, 56 goes into 107 one time, so we could take out an x. And 107 minus 56, that's going to be 51. So we have 51 remaining. So we could simplify our answer like this. Or if you want to, you could leave your answer like this too. This is still correct as well. But let's show another way in which we can get this answer. Let's confirm that that answer is indeed correct. So what we can do is we can convert the original problem back into exponential form. So the eighth root of x to the fifth is x raised to the 5/8. And then the seventh root of x to the 9 is x raised to the 7/9. Now, when we multiply two terms with the same base, we can add the exponents. So this is 5/8 plus 7/9. So we're adding two fractions with different denominators. So we need to get common denominators. 5/8 I'm going to multiply by 9/9. And 7/9 I'm going to multiply by 8/8. 5 times 9 is 45. Whoa, I think I wrote something wrong. So the seventh root of x to the 9 should be x to the 9/7. I had that fraction the other way. The index number should be the denominator. But once again, just like before, we're going to add the two exponents when we multiply the common bases. And then we're going to get the same denominator. So 5/8 I'm going to multiply by 7/7. And 9/7 I'm going to multiply by 8/8 to get the same denominator. So 5 times 7 is 35. 8 times 7 is 56. 9 times 8 is 72. 7 times 8 is 56. So now that we have the same denominator, we can add the numerators together. So 35 plus 72 is 107. And then we could convert this back to radical form. So it's the 56th root of x to the 107. Now, of course, instead of leaving the answer like that, you can write this as 107 is 56 plus 51. So this becomes x to the first power times x to the 51/56. So this x you can leave out in front, and then the other one you can write it as 56, the 56th root of x to the 51, which will give you the answer in this form. Let's work on another example. So let's find the cube root of the square root of x to the fifth multiplied by the fifth root of the cube root of x to the 7. Feel free to try that problem. So here we're multiplying composite radicals. First, let's simplify each composite radical. 3 times 2 is 6. So we have the 6th root of x to the fifth. And here, 5 times 3 is 15. So we're multiplying it by the 15th root of x to the 7. Now in this part, we know what to do here. So to multiply two radicals with different index numbers, first let's multiply the indices. 6 times 15 is 90. And then let's cross multiply with the exponents and the indices. So 5 times 15 is 75. And 6 times 7 is 42. 70 plus 40 is 110. 5 plus 2 is 7. So this is 117. So that's going to be the answer. We have the 90th root of x to the 117. Now, of course, we could simplify it. We could break up 117 into 90, and 117 minus 90, that's going to be 27. The 90th root of x to the 90 is x. And what we're going to have remaining is the 90th root of x to the 27. Now we do have an even index number and an odd exponent. Looking at this term has to be positive because this is an even index number. This term can be negative because the index numbers are odd, and x to the 7 is also odd, which means if you have a positive number times a negative number, then that means that the whole answer could be negative. Now this has to be positive. However, because the original problem can be negative, the final answer should be able to be negative. So I'm not going to put an absolute value symbol here because this term can be negative. So I'm going to leave the answer as x times the 90th root of x to the 27. Now, I do need to make a small correction. Going back to this problem where we had the 8th root of x to the 5th times the 7th root of x to the 9. So one form of the answer was x times the 56th root of x to the 51. And I believe I put an absolute value symbol around this x, since we have an even index number with an odd exponent on the outside. But I forgot to look at the original problem to see if the final answer can be negative. So let's do that now. So this term is always going to be positive. The reason for that is we have an even index number. So after you raise this number to the 5th power and you take the 8th root, it should be positive. Now, if x is negative, we're just going to have an imaginary number associated with that term. Now here we have an odd index number with an odd exponent on the inside, so this term can be negative if x is negative. If x is positive, then everything will be positive. Now we have an even index number. If x is negative, then the imaginary number will be associated with this term. If x is positive, everything will be positive. But this term will only give us a positive result if we include the imaginary number. This part can be negative. But if we put the absolute value symbol around the x, then this entire term will never be negative. We can only get a positive answer or an imaginary number. So in order to get a negative answer, which is entirely possible with this term, it will be negative and imaginary, we need to avoid putting the absolute value symbol here because this term can be negative. And a negative times a positive will give you a negative result. So that's why I decided not to put the absolute value around the x. It's because of this term. It can be negative. However, if we had two even index numbers, which means the original problem will never be negative, then I would have used an absolute value symbol to make sure that the final answer can never be negative. But because this term can be negative, that means this entire expression can be negative. Therefore, I need to make sure that we don't put the absolute value here so that the final answer can be negative as well. So that's the one point I want to mention that I've missed to mention earlier. So just want to make sure you understand that.